Okay, we're going to make a start, I think, because we have everybody here. Well, almost everybody, and those that are joining us a little bit later can, can join in. We're just going to do a few little introductions at the beginning. Hi, I'm Kate Dilger. I'm the Executive Officer here at SASTA, and we've got a number of our committee members, Elephant Science Awards committee members with us tonight that are going to be answering lots of your questions. So in the room with me, I've got Gerald Little and Pete Turnbull, and online we have Kathleen and Best and Rachel Pillar. So they'll be part of our panel session in a little while, and also we have Bianca Warnock, who's going to be managing the session along with me, and she'll be managing the panel part of tonight's session. Just a reminder that the session is being recorded and will be up on the website, so if you miss anything or you need to go back and look at it, the PowerPoint and everything that I'm going to show and all the talk will be there available for you. Before we get started, maybe if I can just get people to put their cameras on so we can just all have a quick look at each other and say hello. That'll be really nice, rather than looking at a big black screen. So welcome to, there's so many new people. I was having a look at the list and we've got 9 brand new schools, and then we've got a number of returning schools, but new coordinators as well. So hopefully all of you will get lots of information tonight. But make sure if you've got questions along the way, you can either interrupt. It's meant to be a really casual thing tonight, or you can type in the chat box, and Bianca's going to be managing the chat box for us and making sure she's keeping an eye on those sort of questions for us. So either way, if you can have a look at that, that would be great. Okay, so we're going to get started, and I'm going to share my screen and take you through the PowerPoint. I'll just try and get rid of this. Oops, my meeting. Not that one. Not that one. I'll just go to share the screen. And I might ask you, actually, Bianca, I'm just going to make you a co-host so that you can admit people while I'm going through the PowerPoint, if that's okay. Okay, so hopefully this is going to work. I'm not going to show you the video. You can watch the video on the website. So just to start off, just telling you what we're going to be going through tonight. So I'm just going to start with some general information about the event, and then most importantly, your role as school coordinator and how you get started, and some things that you might need to know to register for the event and how to manage putting your students' projects in. Then we'll move into the school coordinator panel session. So we'll be working with the conveners of the Elephant Science Awards in Gerald and Pete, and some expert coordinators that have been with us for a long time in Kathleen and Rachel. So they'll be answering a number of questions. And then Pete will take you through a number of reasons why you should get your school involved. And then finally, we'll finish off with the website, and we put lots and lots of resources up there, examples of student projects and all sorts of other tips and ideas to help your students and to help you. And all along, but at the end as well, we'll have time for questions. Okay, so just starting with general event information. The most important thing for you as coordinators at the moment would be the information booklet, and hopefully you've all had a chance to download that from the website or have a look at it. But just running through the general idea, we have 9 different categories and 6 different age groups for each of those categories. So the students can enter more than one category, and students can enter some of the categories as a group of up to 3 students as well. So they don't have to just enter games, they can enter games and models and inventions. It depends how much time and energy they've got and you've got to manage all of those projects. Each of those categories have their own instructions and rules around, or criteria around how to enter. And they're all judged individually, and each of the year level groups are judged individually as well. So in terms of entry fees, if you are a SASTA, if your school or yourself personally, or even anyone in your school is a member of SASTA, each student will get a $3 discount per entry. The entry fee is normally $16 per student, so they'll get that $3 discount. And then on top of that, if you're in a department school, you also get a $5 discount per entry. So that, you know, you can get a total of $8 if you're in a department school and you're a SASTA member. So it'll be $8 per student as well. And the same with group entries, except the department schools will get a $5 discount. So it ends up at $10 discount off a 24 group entry price. Oops, sorry, moved on before I knew.
And Catholic schools?
Sorry, and Catholic schools, I forgot. Thank you, Pete. Department, because both the Education Department and Catholic Ed are major sponsors of Oliphant Science Awards, and so we put that money towards a discount on the membership, the entry fee for the students. So Catholic schools as well. We've got them. It's unlikely to forget the Catholic schools. Yeah, exactly. Okay, moving on. Next. Some important dates. So the first and most important date is for you to register as a coordinator online by Friday the 20th of May, but you'll want to do it well before then, I'm sure, because that day is also the day to register for judges, and a lot of things start to happen. So it'll be really good to get your registration completed before then. And student projects need to be uploaded as well. So then after that, we've got the Friday, June the 10th to the 1st of July. We have a number of projects that need to be submitted electronically. And so they're submitted quite early, and the judging can then be allocated and start to happen. With computing, apps and robotics, it's only the reports that are submitted electronically for those, and then the students who have those make appointments with the judges to demonstrate their computing app or robot. Then moving, oops, sorry, I did it again. Moving into term 3, we start to have further submissions. So in July there you can see crystal investigations and models and inventions. This year, for the first time, their reports must be submitted electronically online. So that's new. Students doing games can submit supporting documents for games online, but they don't have to. So the physical crystal or model or game will be brought along for judging later, but their reports and their risk assessments that go with those projects need to be uploaded online during those dates. Then we have the programming, apps and robotics. Those students who have uploaded their report online will then be asked to make an appointment to be judged at a central location. Generally, well, for the last couple of years, that's been at Pulteney Grammar, and I think it's going to be at Pulteney Grammar again this year. So they'll come along and some of our judges will then take them through, asking them questions and asking them to demonstrate their project, and they'll be judged on site in that space. Then later on, we have the start of the very big open day, which starts on the Tuesday, the 2nd of August. It's 3 weeks earlier this year with delivery day. And on delivery day, between 9 and 5, the models, the crystals, the photography, the games, the posters will all be delivered either by yourselves or some parent from the school or individual parents. But either way, they all need to get to the showgrounds, and there'll be lots of instructions around how to do that later on. Then our open day is actually 3 days for the first time ever. I'll tell you a bit more about Science Alive in a moment, but it'll run for 3 days. It's a large public event, and your students' work will be on show during that time. So all the models and inventions will be on show, and then the winning entries for photography, games, posters and crystals will also be on display. So that's from the 5th to the 7th of August at the showgrounds. Then Monday is collection day. So as they were all delivered, they all need to be picked up. And so that day, once again, it'll either be you as coordinator or a nominated parent or parents that will come and collect all of the projects and take them back to the school or the students. And then finally, later in the year, in October, we'll have our big presentation ceremony, which will once again be at Brighton Performing Arts Centre. And that will be for any of the students that have won any sort of prize, a sponsor prize or a first, second and third in any of their categories. Does anybody have any questions around any of those dates at the moment, or does the panel have anything to add? No?
I mean, there's a lot of information to give at once, and obviously you will want to go back and check the website and check the details from the list.
All of the information I'm telling you tonight is all in the information booklet, and all of those dates you will be sent multiple reminders about them, so you don't have to keep them all up in your head or even keep checking back on your calendar. As coordinator, we will email you and say, don't forget that this Friday is such and such, and yeah, so we'll keep you in the loop with all the communications as well.
Can I just quickly ask a question?
No. Sorry, Tammy, I'll just quickly jump in and then I'll, just letting everyone know in the chat box, I did put a link to this right spot on the Elephant's website where you can download the document that Kate was talking about. So when you get, if you get a chance, just open it up in a tab so that you can download those files later. Tammy, go ahead.
Just in regards to the open day, you said all the projects will be on display. Will they be behind cabinets or whatever? Just in terms of your previous open days, they're a little bit interactive. Are they still going to be interactive or non-touchable?
No, we want them to be interactive.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have lots of volunteers wandering up and down to make sure that they're not damaged as much as possible. But the whole idea is that models and inventions in particular need to be interactive. And so it's hard. We do put up signs that say, please don't touch unless this is your model, especially on some of the more delicate ones. And so we try and monitor that, but we're definitely not putting them behind glass cabinets. Yeah. So,
we don't have the glass cabinets.
We don't. Is it something that you're worried about, Tammy?
I guess it was just along the lines of the crystals, that they're not all touched and played with. That's probably the key one. But I agree with you, for the models and inventions, some of the kids actually like it to be played with so they can see that people are testing them out. Yeah, with the crystals, they're actually all inside their Ziploc bags and they're not taken out of those. So that will be the same on this Science Alive day. You won't really be able to necessarily see them. You'll see them, but they'll be inside the clear Ziploc bag. They won't be out on a table for kids to play around with or pop into their pockets. Yep. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay. All right, so we'll go on to, I just want to tell you a little bit about Science Alive. So I don't know whether any of you went to Science Alive this year. It was on a smaller scale this year because half of their space was the COVID vaccination clinic. And any of you that have gone to have your injection at Wayland Showgrounds, the place where you go is the Duncan Gallery, and that whole space is where the Oliphant Science Awards is going to be. So this year for Science Alive, the Science Alive people have got both the Jubilee and the Goiter Pavilion, and between those two pavilions is the Duncan Pavilion, which is like a big, long, thin, well, it's not actually that thin compared to them, space. And so Oliphant Science Awards will be happening between those two pavilions, which will be full of displays. It's a huge opportunity for us, so I thought I'd just put up some stats for you. This year, like I said, it was on a much smaller scale because of COVID. They weren't allowed that many people in the space. So, but even so, with 3 days, they had 13.5 people through. In 2019, when it ran properly, they had over 20,000 people through the door. So it's a significant number of people compared to our open day, which normally had about 1,000 people through the door. So it's a big opportunity for Oliphants to be really on show. At the same time, as Oliphant Science Awards families, they will also get not only to see their own project, but enjoy all the Science Alive displays and science shows and interactives and everything else that's going on. And all of our Oliphant Science Awards families will get a discount to Science Alive, so that it makes it more affordable for them to go to see their own projects as well. Does anybody have any questions about the whole Science Alive venue and the change that we're doing there? No? So it's all going to be new for us as well, and we need lots of volunteers and judges, so we'll be hitting you up for that as well, and we'll spruik that a bit later on in the webinar tonight as well. Okay, so back to talking about those dates. This is just a rundown again of all that information that I told you. So just, we have the ones in blue are where judging happens solely online and everything is submitted online. So multimedia, science inquiry and science writing, and you can see science writing has a number of categories. We ask the students to choose one of those categories to do their writing around. Everything in pink, because there's another page as well to this, where the judging happens on site. So programming, apps and robotics, yes, they submit their report electronically, but they turn up to be judged on site at Poly, like I said before. All of the other ones, these are all the things that get judged on site at the showgrounds. So delivery day was the Tuesday. We'll be having all of our judges turn up on the Wednesday, and we'll spend the whole day judging on Wednesday and sponsor judging on Thursday before we open to the public on Friday. Again, you can see for photography and posters, there are categories there, titles.
Titles is usually the term we use.
Right, titles, sorry, yep, titles for photography and posters that we ask the students to be inspired by for their photography and their poster as well. Okay, so that's a nice summary of when things get delivered or where and how the judging happens. Oops, and I went backwards this time. All right, so just after that brief run through of those things, now going to talk about how you as the coordinator are the most important person for us at the moment, definitely, because you're our point of contact with the school and with all of the students. So all the communication will get sent through you. And then we ask that you communicate with the students about their projects. So you'll be registering their projects and organising the payment of the projects, like in total from the school. You'll be either doing the collecting and delivery or arranging for that to happen. Hopefully, some of you will be able to recruit some judges for us to help judge either online or on site on those days that I've spoken about. And you'll also then be sent the certificates, or if applicable, if your students have won some prizes, you'll be invited to attend with the students to the presentation ceremony to hand out, where the certificates are handed out and the students are congratulated. Yeah, so basically all of the forms, any information that we need will be sent through you. Bianca, did you have a question? No, sorry, you just suddenly popped up on my screen. Something. Okay, so how do you register as a coordinator? Well, I might just take you through this. So I'm going to share my screen again to the Oliphant website and just take you through how this happens by registering myself as a coordinator. So I'm just going to move out of that and go to the Oliphant's website. Oh, was that the same screen? Okay, so here I am on the Oliphant's website, and up here in the right-hand corner, there's a coordinator login and then there's register. So I'm not a coordinator at the moment, so the first thing I need to do is register. So if I click on register here, we come to Oliphant Coordinator Registration, and it then asks you to check your email address, because if you already have a user account with SASTA, it will pre-fill some of this information for you and it will ask you to log in. So I actually do have an account already, so I'm just going to put that in. It asks me to log in. So I'll log in, I'll put my password in there and log in. So now I get to the Oliphant registration form and it asks you to put all your details in here. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm from Aberfoyle Hub Art 7 School because it was the first one on the list. My position is I'm not any of those, so I'm other. So the whole list of schools is here, so you just choose your school from there. I don't know why we've got it asking for a phone and a mobile. I just put both in. I'm going to try and get rid of that required field, but I haven't managed to do that yet. And I'm going to click that I've read the terms and conditions, but you can go ahead and read those rather than just click it if you want to. And then you do submit your registration. And that's as simple as that. Then you are registered as a coordinator. And then you get to, once you're registered as a coordinator, you get this screen and this drop-down menu on the right-hand side here, where you can manage students' projects, you can look at project files, you can change your details. So I'm on the Oliphant project management page here. So I just clicked on that and I'm going to click on manage projects. Now, what this will do, this is going to be your landing page where you can actually, once you start uploading projects, or your entire list of projects will appear here, and you can download them and print them off, as it says here, as a PDF. you can do that. It also has your dates up there. You can search for a particular project using any of these categories as well. So now I'm just going to check the PowerPoint rather than go back to it. Just while we're here, and I know that I'm a bit out of order, but since I'm here, I'm just going to show you how you go about adding a project as well. So basically you just click on add project and you put in all the details for each student. I did forget to say, if you've been a coordinator before, you still have to register each year. So even if you were a coordinator last year or in previous years, you still have to register again as a coordinator for 2022. Okay, so project details, year level, the category that they've chosen to enter, the year level they've chosen to enter, the name of the project. Now that's really important, that the name of the project. So if they've called it, I don't know, spacesuit from Mars, then that's what the title is up there. Is it a group project? And if it is, you'll get some extra fields up here to put in more student details. I'm not seeking a patent for mine. Now that actually has happened, particularly with games. I think we've had a couple of games.
With games and also sometimes with models and inventions.
Yeah, so and fill that in. And with students, first name, last name, gender, so and just all the other questions, again ticking the terms and conditions, and then save. And you need to do that for each project that gets submitted. Now, if you're a school that's going to have lots and lots of projects, it is perfectly okay for you to give your login details to a teacher that's going to help you, and they can upload and save some of the projects for you. There's also this form, this entire form appears on a page, I can't remember what page, but I'll have a look in a minute, in the information booklet. So that means you can print this page off and you can hand it out to the students and have them pre-fill it, and you can collect that up. So instead of having to have the student in front of you, you can just have this stack of entry forms, and you can go through the entry forms and upload and add all the information that way as well. So again, that's a lot of information to take in. We've tried to make the forms as simple as possible for you to fill in, but we're always here to answer any of your queries. If you're halfway through doing this and get stuck or you forget, just give us a ring. Usually it'll be Rebecca that takes your call and she will help you through any of this. So before I hand over to the panel, does anybody have any questions about any of this process so far?
Hey, we did have a really great question that I've answered in the chat box, but I think just to address it.
Yeah.
The query was, can special needs students participate? And of course, the response to that is absolutely. There's many categories and topics and projects that can be submitted. So you tailor to their needs, tailor to their skills, tailor to your class's needs.
Yeah.
And your own needs as well. You, as a coordinator, you will need to juggle that. So absolutely, there's nothing that should get in the way of your student submitting.
Yeah, and we are more than happy for coordinators or other teachers to support to a much greater degree students with special needs to finish or to finish their project and get that submitted. So we're actually in the process of investigating a new category for elephants, particularly for students with special needs, but we'll let you know more about that. We're hoping to get that up and running this year, but we're talking to the education department about how we do that at the moment. So they'll have their own, there'll be another category as well for them. but we're not quite sure how that's going to work yet.
Can I just ask a question in terms of the registration form?
Yeah.
You've got on there tick the models and inventions if it should not be touched, yet that's not on your project page here. So how do we indicate that they don't want it to be touched?
Oh, is that on the form in the information booklet you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not on the form here.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Because I remember last year there were a couple projects that they didn't want touched, but I couldn't indicate that to you guys.
Okay, I'll make a note of that and we will see if we can add that to the form.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thank
Carrie.
Perhaps that was something that's just been deselected in our background, so we'll have a look.
I will try and add that to the form, definitely, but it is important to tell the students that, yeah, we can't be everywhere all the time and that their projects will be on display and they may get touched by inquisitive children. So we'll do our very best to make sure that they're not touched. Okay, any other questions about any of that? Okay, I'm just going to go back to the PowerPoint and then I might get Bianca to take over here. So just to finish off, lastly, as coordinators, once you're in the login area, you've registered and you're getting more of an idea of what's going on. Like I said, you're going to be emailed lots of information, but the biggest, we'll try and package them together so that you're not getting constant emails. So the first big pack of information that you'll get will be after the close of registrations for schools, where you'll get an email with links to all the forms you'll need to submit amendments, if you want to submit amendments, and round one projects and the tax invoice for your students for the entries that you've entered. Then pack 2 comes out to tell you about electronic submission. Pack 3, whoops, I can't manage my PowerPoint. Pack 3 will be emailed to you shortly after open day. That's all about presentation night, and then pack 4 after presentation night with the participation certificates. There'll be other bits of information and reminders in between, but they'll be the main things that we'll be sending out to you. All right, so now, and I'm going backwards again for some reason. There we go, school coordinator panel session, and here are our illustrious committee members that are going to talk to you now. So I'm going to unshare my screen so you can actually see them as well. And Bianca is going to introduce them.
Hi everyone. I think for this bit here, why don't we make sure all our cameras are on if possible? That way then we're not staring at a blank empty screen. We feel a bit more community. All right, so I'd like to welcome the 4 speakers that we've got today who have been members of the OSA committee, previously had their students enroll, and so they're here to help answer your questions. I've got Rachel Peeler from Kangaroo Island Community Education. We've got Gerard Little from Brighton Secondary School. We've got Kathleen Best from Clarendon Primary, and Pete Turnbull is here as well, who's on our SASTA committee and has teaching experience as well. So can I ask Rachel, can you introduce yourself as to your experience so far with, don't tell me about how much you've loved it, just how many kids you've had enroll and how many you're thinking of enrolling this year and all this.
Yeah, sure. So this is my 4th year working as a coordinator, and I've also worked as a judge for the last 2 years and been on the committee, obviously. So yeah, I'm at Kangaroo Island Community Education. So we actually have 3 campuses. So I'm the coordinator for all 3, but I do have help from other teachers. So our numbers of projects have kind of fluctuated up and down over the years. So the first year we entered, we had about 15 students and 10 projects. That really grew the following year. We actually took everyone up to open day and the word got around and it was awesome. I wasn't meant to say that.
No, you can say it.
Tell us how it was later.
Yeah. So then we had, I think it was almost 60 students enter the following year. And then last year it dropped back a little bit again. We had roughly 20 students enter, which is pretty good for our school. It's quite a small school.
And you were the sole coordinator?
Yeah. Last year I had another teacher, Hannah Tatlock, and she was going to be here tonight, but is busy. And we actually ran drop-in sessions after school for our students. So starting at the end of term 1 and going into term 2. So the projects were run, so students could opt into it. So it wasn't generally taught in the classroom as part of curriculum. So yeah, we ran after school drop-in sessions, and I had one student at the end of the sessions, this will stick with me forever, going, yeah, I'm vibing with my project, I'm vibing with the teachers, this is awesome. So they quite enjoyed it. Yeah.
Oh, that's rewarding for staying back after school too.
So I learned some new lingo.
Yeah, got to get up with it. So thank you, Rachel. I'll just jump into the others. Kathleen, do you want to jump in and tell us about Clarendon Primary School's involvement and how you've coordinated your team?
Yeah, I've been doing Oliphant Science Wars as a coordinator for, I think this is my 6th year, which is a little scary sometimes, but our school's a small school and we usually get usually around 1/3 of the students enter each year. And the way we tend to run it is, last year we tried doing a bit of an Oliphant Club at a lunch break for just as a general support, but we tend to go with, I make sure that the things we do in our science STEAM lessons, that a lot of that can be entered. So we try to make it link in with our schoolwork that we do at school. So if a kid's doing a project, I just see if there's a little handy Oliphant link. So if we have to do a bright path writing, I just go, oh, hang on, could we have the topic be an Oliphant topic this year? And then we can do 2 things at once there. We have kids doing passion projects. So our upper 2 classes do the Genius Hour, and we have PDP sort of things that they do, their little their PHP, their home learning homework thing. And we always point out that could be an Oliphant project as well. And we've got kids who just go, oh, hang on, I really just want to make a game. And we just support them however we can. And it's really, I know we're not meant to say it, it's really a lot of fun.
What do I want you to say? I was just going to come back to that later.
Yeah, it's all good. Now, we do link it in with our school projects as much as we can, because then I can say to the kids, hey, you're doing really well with this project and I'm going to give you a grade. And that's really feedback. If you then take that and decide to make some changes to it, you could enter that into the Oliphant Science Awards. So it's really handy because it links with curriculum.
Yeah, killing 2 birds with 1 stone.
Sorry.
So to speak. Thanks, Kathleen. We'll come back. Gerald, in the room there with Pete and Kate, can you share your experience from Brighton Secondary School? How many students, for those who don't know, for the past few years, we've hosted the final presentation ceremony at Brighton. But quite a few of your students are actually enrolling and being a part of this. So can you talk us through your experience?
Sure. let's just say I've been a member of the committee and been a coordinator for double digits. Okay, so I think I'm getting near my 18th. I'm not sure how far back we should go. So I'm in double digits. I'm in double digits. And at Brighton, because we're such a big school, we have a team of people who have been actively involved. We've had Dr. Sam Moyle, who is now moved to the ASMS. Okay, last year Kylie Walters, she was a helper and she has now moved to another school. So this isn't sounding very good, is it? Okay, and then we have maybe 2 or 3 other classroom teachers who are actively involved. In terms of numbers, I think our record is about 96 one year. And we're often in the mid-50s, 60 entries per year.
With multiple teachers coordinating and.
Yes.
Would you say that majority of your students are enrolling as a class based?
Yeah, so, okay, sorry. We've got a couple of teachers take it on as a makers type project. Okay, so when we have with our timetable, they might set aside a lesson where they do elephant type projects, be it posters, be it growing crystals, be it doing an investigation, okay, or we have students who just want to be involved and they might enter 3 or 4 different categories, okay, and they would come chat to me and say, this is my plan for this year, Mr. Little, and we'd work out a timeline and such, and I'd help them to make sure that they get it together. But
So,
basically, go on.
Kira, go, basically.
Okay, so basically what happens is that the teachers take on the responsibility, and then when it gets closer to the registrations and such, they get in contact with me and then I collect the information to put into the system.
I just want to pick up on one thing that Gerald just said there. I think one of the most important things as a coordinator or whoever, if it's a classroom teacher or another teacher working with the students on their project, is that timeline to give the students a real awareness of what the timeline is for different parts that have to be completed by a certain date, so they can actually map out when things are going to happen and when things need to be submitted, because otherwise, well, we know what students are like. They'll leave it all to the last minute. So that mapping out the timeline, I think, is something really important.
I think, funnily enough, Gerald, you answered the question I was going to say when we clashed a moment ago, but I wanted to say, how are you coordinating the coordinators in a big team like that? So and I guess I'm using the wrong lingo there, they're not coordinators amongst you, they are the teachers in their classes, and the students know them and they can go to them. The teachers can then go to you. How do you structure that and manage that throughout the awards process?
From my point of view, the students own the projects. Okay, they are the starting point, and the person who knows those students best is the classroom teacher. So when the classroom teacher wishes to get involved, they are taking on the responsibility and the ownership for the class. So then I am their contact person. I'll go in and talk to the class. I'll tell them about what we've done in the past. We've got a couple of big notice boards around the school that have past prize winners, okay, examples of work that we've had done. Okay, and I'll go in and I'll talk to the class, and then the classroom teacher will take on the management of it. So they know what works best. They can work out whether they make it part of the curriculum in the class, be it they donate, have Friday afternoon lessons, we're doing it. Okay, our whole class did games last year. Okay, so they took that on and they built it into their curriculum for the year. Okay, so they take over that part of the management. I just keep coming back with, we've got due dates coming up, we've got timelines coming up. You know, I take on that role.
Well, that's great, because what you've just done there is help answer Cassandra's question. She's asked if a whole class project can be submitted. Have you had experience where a whole class is submitting as a one group? Are there
So they can't actually submit together. The most you can have is 3 students on an individual project. So yes, an entire class can get involved in, like Gerald said, all doing games. However, it has to be a number of different games. They can't all work on the same project and submit as a class. They can work on the same ideas around games or a particular theme or title in the posters or photography or something.
Science writing,
Yeah.
investigations.
You might do one
interesting.
investigation for the entire reception year 2 class or whatever, and they all run that investigation, but they need to write it up themselves and submit individually or as a maximum as a group of 3.
So I hope Cassandra been pulling that out and fleshing that out as a question was answered everything there for you.
Yeah, thank you. I was just wondering if it was something, because it's hard for the little ones, you know, reception 1, I teach year 2s. Sometimes it's hard to get them involved because obviously their building and writing and making skills are limited, especially because a lot of our students are EALD learners as well. So having that support, but now knowing that they can work in up to a group of 3 is really good to know, because I think that would encourage a lot more kids to enter and be involved because they can have that support, and we can give that to them at school too. So thank you for answering that.
We've had a number of schools where the teacher has run a science investigation with the entire class, but the class have written them up or written about them or done a poster about them or something within their groups as well. Or a class has been given a title from the posters, and all the students do their own poster, but it's all around the same title. Yeah, so there are ways that you can share and have that support with all the kids helping each other, you know.
Cassandra, can I just add something that you said that may become relevant to you? That the common question for us, looking at it from a judging perspective, is what support and help the kids get in doing their project. And it's always recognised, of course, the kids will get help. We don't ask the kids not get help, but what we're asking is that where students are helped with their projects, that is acknowledged as part of the entry, and then that gives the judging people a much clearer idea about what contribution the student themselves have made.
Yeah, of course. So we're just really that supporting network for them to help, you know, get them over the line and submit something. But of course, you want to see their knowledge and their skills and how they're applying it too. So,
yeah.
Sandra, can I jump in there and say as well, I had a couple of year 1 students. So I'm a senior secondary teacher, and I had a couple of year 1 students last year, which kind of freaked me out with like the cutting with scissors thing and whatever, but they were really, really good, and it worked really well. A couple of ideas: if you've got some older students, you could maybe sort of buddy them up as well, and also get parents involved. So we had really, really supportive parents, and I know it's tricky with COVID, but some of their parents used to actually come into our drop-in sessions and just help them out after work and things. So if there are opportunities for that, or they can take their projects home, I'd really
it's a good point with the buddy class actually. I would definitely have a think about that one, because the older kids can definitely help out a bit more, especially with the scissors. Yes.
So I want to jump in on that one, Rachel, if you can stay unmuted. How have you been successful in supporting your not just the teaching staff, but your parents who then got a child coming back saying, "Mummy, we've got to make this project," and whatever?
It's easier over here because we tend to know most of the people. We have really good communication with our families. So some of the ways we communicate are on, social media, but Seesaw. So I don't know if some of you guys use Seesaw, we've used that as well. But I also like to just send out emails to all the parents and keep them up to date and share the resources with them. So yeah, to get them on side. And I found that they've been very supportive. And in fact, probably the projects that have been the best for us have been where there's been that really close collaboration between the teacher, the parent and the student. It just provides really good opportunity. Other things we've done is after the Elephant Science Awards, we've run like community events. So we actually took all the projects down to our local pub and set them up in their front room, and then asked people from the community, like our newspaper put it out, and people came in and had a look at them and voted on which favourite. And we've also, last year, we had a global market event here at the school, and so parents could come in and actually see it, and we had it at our local show as well. So I think that goes a long way towards publicising things and getting other kids involved, and just listening into all the little conversations, you know, like, oh, there's so and so's project, look what they did. And yeah, getting the kids talking about it is a real motivator.
I think that I've seen that as a judge, and that's been really exciting to see that come through. Kathleen, if you could jump in, you know, if you've got anything to add to that bit, but on that, how are you recruiting your students that aren't submitting through the class direction?
We're a small school, but I try to get it out there with notes sent home. The little kids have seen all the big kids putting things in. Last year we held the Clarendon Science Fair. So on that, supporting, because I get a lot of receptions wanting to do big models, or we had one that wanted to do an online game. Buddies are really handy in that situation, because receptions need a lot of one-on-one time, and we do get a lot of junior primary submitting for the elephant. But I talk about it in class. I show the elephant videos. We've looked at the elephant open day. So if you have one of those days where you've just got, I don't have any, like, we don't have anything pressing, or we finish our work early, we just throw on one of the elephant open day videos, and that really hypes them up. We talk about the vast range of things that they can do, and it's just this constant thing of, hey, have you thought about the Elephant Science Awards? And they're hearing it so regularly. We get, the big kids saying about it. We have a couple of the kids come to the open day, and then they come back and they talk about how much fun the open day was and all the cool things they did. And that word of mouth is just really quite good. And we've had parents who in the past have done elephant, and then they're encouraging their kids to do it as well, saying, hey, I did this was a lot of fun. So little things like that really gets the word out into the community. And Seesaw, school bag, all of it, newsletters. I basically become our biggest spammer for the entire school's media stuff, and everyone then hears about it.
I love all of that. Celebrating that involvement on a community level is a fantastic way of bringing it forward the generations. Like you said, for those of you who don't know, last year was the 40th anniversary of the OSA. So it's lovely to see this developing and growing, and, you know, for Kate to have secured a spot at Science Alive to grow it even further is an exciting opportunity for your class, your student, to see their work on a very public platform, which is really wonderful. Gerald, what would you say to another school, another teacher, coordinator who's on the fence about signing up? Not sure, feeling like it's a bit overwhelming.
I guess the thing is to start small. Okay. Like I said, you know, I'm now into double digits doing this, so I've got my network of supporters there. And what I found, you know, when I've wanted to do it as a class, having a class project always works well. Multimedia, they produced, you know, they worked in their groups of up to 3, produced them PowerPoints, videos, etc. Okay, and that gave them they got most of the kids in the class involved. But what I found happened with that was that there was also kids who then come up and went, I really like that. Can I do a poster? Can I do the photography? You know, they wanted to have extra, and you know, okay, if you want to work in group, no, I'm happy, I'll do this by myself. And that, you know, that kind of widened it. So the thing about, from the coordinator point of view, is you want to keep the kids interested, you want to keep them engaged in it, but you don't want to hound them. You don't want to be the person who's pushing the button. You know, you just, so there's that bit of fine line.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And maintaining that encouragement throughout the year as well, and not dropping it off. And if you've included it as, you know, part of the line to your curriculum and your class learning plan, being able to slot it in and remember, oh, hang on, we can still submit this, you know, not giving up on yourself as well as the coordinators. Can I ask any of the hosts, not the hosts, the panel, sorry, to jump in if you've got a suggestion. What resources have you gone to outside of the Elephant Science Awards community that have helped you in the past that might not be recognised as a traditional resource?
Sure. So our local council actually has youth sponsorship grants. So we've applied for those every year for help with everything from just getting additional materials and equipment through to the year when we went up to the open day and we were actually able to pay for the kids to go. So that was really, really good. Other things I've done, so resources, I tend to rope a lot of other teachers into it. So our art teacher came and helped with natural history illustrations, the English teachers, get them on board, because you can have a lot of connections with other curriculum areas. So that's really positive as well. And yeah, local businesses are often really willing to support it and stuff as well. So that's been useful.
That's awesome. Kathleen or Gerald?
Yeah, we use other teachers. Like I try to get the other teachers involved as well. Where, you know, it's easy enough to just chat with them and say, hey, I have a way of making your life easier. And it's amazing how quickly other teachers go, oh yeah, I like that. I like not having to plan as much today. The Elephant Science Awards has a whole resources section, and I like to use that to actually help me with other things. So when we're doing writing and things, I grab the writing judging rubric, and it's a handy rubric that's already done. I use sometimes things like which we're using in class, like we might be using Brightpath, or we're doing a particular maths problem solving, and I just see, hey, this resource that we are using on site that we have to use, how can I put an Elephant lean on that? And that way we're meeting requirements that we need for our site improvement plan, but also using it for Elephant and increasing our use of that. And volunteers, we've got some amazing volunteers in our community. We've got a grandpa who volunteers at our school, who's a former engineer, and the things that he does with the kids, because he is a regular volunteer, is amazing. And kids just come up to him and go, I need to submit this and I want this to do this thing and I don't know how to make it do that. And he comes up with these amazing ideas to help them learn how to do that. So we end up with kids using power tools to put things together, and he's just there saying, how do you use a drill? So it's really good to look at your parent community and see who's in there who can actually support you with that. It's not the traditional resource, but looking for, maybe there is a grandpa in your group that, you know, who is an engineer or a scientist or something like that, or has a few minutes to spare and to hang out and maybe teach a kid or help a kid through that one problem spot.
That's awesome. On that, Kathleen, can I have that person's number? I'd like to learn how to use a power drill. Gerald, how about you? What resources have you found your teachers have led to?
Well, Brighton's a massive school, so we've got a lot of staff, and so we go to the different faculties, and because we've been running it for so long, we have students who are in year 11 and 12 who were prize winners back when they were in year 8 and year 9, and if the middle school students come up with a plan or do something, I'll tell them to go have a chat to one of the senior school students to get feedback, and they can be very harsh with their feedback, but they can help them. They will show them their prize winners and what they did and stuff. And so yeah, it works well.
That's fantastic. Well, I think that we can tell from the panelists that they obviously enjoy doing this, and I think a testament to Gerald, 18 or more years doing this means it's not too hard, and it's worth doing, and we're here to help as well through SASTA and the OSA committee. So I'll stop pestering the panelists, and we'll return back to Kate, and I think Pete's going to discuss some options with us.
A couple of things.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple of things, and perhaps comments that might be useful, particularly for people who are new to this. That as a starting point, you might be really scratching your head and wondering, what does a good student entry really look like at a particular year level or a particular category, in a particular category? And to support that, I'd suggest that you might like to have a really good look at the virtual open day materials, which are on the website, and you will see lots of examples of what have been our winning entries for the last 2 years. So we started doing this 2 years ago when the lockdown meant we couldn't have our real open day. We like the idea so much that each year we keep doing it. So those winning entries each year will be posted in detail up on the website. And the other comment I would make too, that if people are looking for some sort of support, and I know that school visits are probably not on at the moment, but if there's any way that we can support you to get you established and started in this, please ask for that help, because we'd like to provide that.
Yeah. So, well, thank you, Bianca, for those great questions, and hopefully, that was a lot of really good information, and hopefully we've inspired our new coordinators or potential new coordinators. So I'm going to just go back to sharing my screen now and go back to where we were in the PowerPoint. I'm just going to skip a couple of slides because we've kind of covered it, and I want to go to here. So we've talked about why you should, why the Oliphants is such a good thing to do with your students, and not only is it inspiring, it's getting kids hands-on and creative, it also covers off science inquiry skills, science as a human endeavour, and with, especially with some of the titles that we've tried to put in there, definitely some of the science understanding content descriptions as part of the curriculum as well. So I'm just going to ask Pete to help me run through the next part of the PowerPoint, which we'll do quite quickly because I am aware that we're running a bit later. I did want to bring your attention to the sponsorship page on the website. Yes, we give out prizes for first, second and third in each category for each age group, but we also have a lot of sponsor prizes, and they're detailed on the website, and what they detail is what these sponsors are looking for. So, for example, we've got a new sponsor this year in the South Australian Museum, and they're sponsoring the photography category, and they're going to be looking particularly for photography in the first couple of titles that we've got on there. So they're looking for nature photography, and we've put a couple of titles in there that particularly speak to that. And they will give out, I mean, this is an extra prize on top of the first, second and third. It's the South Australian Museum prize, and they'll give a prize for what they've selected as the best nature photography. And they've also said that that winner, or those winners, I think there's going to be 2, will be hung in the South Australian Museum in their learning centre. So there's some excellent extra things that students can do, where it's not confirmed up on the website yet, but we've got another one that's coming on board, which is the Clean Air Society, and they're giving out a prize for science writing around air quality and air emissions, which probably will speak more to our senior students. But the prize, along with the normal prize, will also, the student will be asked to present their writing at the Clean Air Society conference, which is being held in Adelaide this year. So there are amazing opportunities as part of our prize pack, as well as just the normal prizes that we give out for first, second and third. So really have a look at that, because it might steer you into or give you an idea to say to a particular student, have you had a look at the well, the defence industry prize, or you know, whatever prize might speak to them. So
I just had a question on what is a normal prize? What constitutes?
Oh, a normal prize, sorry, are cash prizes that we give out to students for first, second and third. And then highly commended get a highly commended certificate, and every student gets a certificate of participation. So, but then on top of the cash prizes for first, second and third, there are all of these other sponsored prizes which are listed on the website as well. And some of those sponsor prizes are cash as well, like significant amounts of cash, some of them. But others are in kind, like our Tall Poppies Award winner will be mentored by a tall poppy scientist for the next year leading up to Oliphants to help them with their project. So this last year's winner for that is being mentored by Justin Chalker, who was the Tall Poppy of the Year award winner 2 years ago. So amazing opportunity for that student. So, does that answer your question? Whoever asked that one?
That was Vic.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay. Pete, did you want to say anything about any of these? I think as panelists, you kind of talked about some of these kinds of things.
Yeah, I think a lot of this has come up in the discussion already. I see a reference to virtual open day, for example. I'd like to make the comment that in structuring the details of the competition, we're always very aware of trying to make it align as much as possible with the Australian science curriculum. And you'll find that particularly shows out if you look at the scientific inquiry requirements, where it really lines up very well with science inquiry skills. So we're trying to make those connections very direct and very easy, therefore for teachers to include Oliphant Science Award activities in their general classroom teaching.
And you'll find the rubrics for like science inquiry and science writing on the website, so you can have a look at those, and you'll see the language in the rubric, particularly for science inquiry, is directly from the achievement standards. So we're making sure that we align very closely in that way. So the other thing, Pete talked a little while ago about what makes a good project, and have a look at the online, the virtual open day. Well, the other thing that can really help you figure out what is a good project is being part of the judging team.
Best way of all.
Yeah, best way. I know, I mean, this is not from Oliphants, but I know that when I became a marker for teaching, I was teaching year 12 chemistry, and it was only through doing that I it really helped me learn how to better teach my students the chemistry. So it's the same thing with Oliphants. So you come along, it's really fun, especially the on-site judging, and you're with a team of judges, and you get to see some amazing stuff from the students. It will just amaze you, some of the things that they come up with. And it's a great way to learn about the projects and what we're looking for. So
kids continue to amaze us year by year with what they come up with.
They really do.
Would never get
Can I just say, oh, sorry, guys. I just wanted to say, I've loved judging. It's the best professional development ever, getting to sort of moderate with other teachers and also look at, like you say, the amazing work and get ideas that I can then take back and implement into my own teaching. I think it's been invaluable in improving the quality of my teaching. So, yeah, it's well worth it.
Yeah, and you can list it as part of your professional learning as well, and we will give you a certificate for that. So that's another bonus. So if you do want to become a judge, you need to go onto our website and register as a judge. So you can see on the PowerPoint here, you just click on the Get Involved tab, and it will, you can then register as a judge, and it's just another online form. You can choose what category you want to judge in, what age group you'd like to judge in, whether you want to judge online or on site, and you can choose all your different preferences, etc. So have a think about it and see if you can rope in. Rachel even roped in her auntie and uncle last year, but you can rope in friends and other teachers to come along and help with the judging. And we're looking for lots more this year, so it'll be really good. I think both Pete and Kathleen and Bianca have mentioned the resources that are on the website. So all of the criteria, the instructions are on the website, the rubrics for judging are on the website. And on top of that, so there's the rubrics are on the website, but on top of that, we also have lots of information or videos and other resources that have been prepared by teachers and students to give you insights on how they developed their project or different things. In fact, I might just go to the website and just quickly show you where they are, because sometimes they're a bit tricky to find. I shouldn't say that about my own website, but now. So if I go back to participant info, and you can scroll down, you can see student information or resources for students and ideas for teachers. So if I go into ideas for teachers, then you can scroll down and you can look at all these different blog posts, and there are ideas for all sorts of different things like projects. Here we've got 5 tips for a successful science inquiry written by a teacher. Written by a student. We've got a short guide to science writing. And here we've got a science trophy winner from a long time ago.
1981.
Yeah, talking about that. We've got, this is, Reagan's been part of the Oliphant Science Awards for a number of years now, and he's written about his journey through oliphants. So you can get all sorts of inspiration. Another one about how to develop a really good poster as well. So there's lots of different guides, tips, inspirations, videos that you can look at yourself or show the students. And in resources for students, there's a lot of the similar things. So you can see some of the same blog posts, but there's other stuff as well, like how to do animation. And if I scroll down, there's a few extra ones past those ones. Yeah, so primary years, looking at that. Photography from a judge's perspective, that's a really good one as well. So there's lots of different things you can look at. So how to do some multimedia, and a lot of these are written by students that have been involved and done their projects. So we try to keep populating that and giving you more and more resources and lots of things to help you out. So we've got lots of people heading off now, so I think it's time to finish. Are there any other questions from those that are left at the moment? We had
it goes without saying, if you've got questions that aren't getting answered here, don't hesitate to email us at SASTA, and we will get those answers to you. If we see a common question coming up all the time, you know, we'll pop up a blog post or something like that and let you know as well.
So from head judge's perspective, any other things that you'd like to?
Well, I think you've been very comprehensive.
Okay. So has anybody got anything else that they want to ask the head judges or coordinators of many years standing?
No, I think
We're all
that's it,
good.
Kate. Everyone here is just saying goodbye and thank you.
Okay, just remember that the webinar will be up on the website and all of the information we've talked about is up there as well. Keep in touch. Don't be afraid to ask questions anytime. And I want to thank our panelists for being here tonight too. And I hope to see all of you register as coordinators in the coming weeks. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, goodbye.